Our countdown's not working. So we are live. I
Okay.
love we're live, pal. Welcome everybody to another edition of Mission Pro Wrestling's Unmatched, where anything can happen. I'm joined here by the best host from the West Coast, Trenda. Trenda, I see you have a last name finally. I'm so proud of you.
Yes. I've, become a whole person now. First it was just like trending like Madonna or just, those one names, that was me. So I had to grow up now and I have a new name, a new hashtag all across the socials, Trenda Magella with a J, not a G.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome. Well, in other promotions, people lose their names. Here in Mission Pro, you get names, so that's cool.
Yeah. How was your week?
It's been a week. It's been interesting. Real life, a lot of meetings, a lot of conference calls, but a lot of great wrestling. We're coming off the heels of just an unbelievable pay-per-view. Edge of Glory was just so much fun. I know if you get a chance, if you want a full match breakdown, go back on our socials and on our YouTube channel. Emily, May, and Veda did an incredible job breaking down all the action and the matches. I did want to talk a little bit about it, though, because there were some standout moments I know that both of us wanted to mention and sort of give our thoughts on. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. The chat is packed tonight. I see Pepe and let's see, Ace is in there. Brian, hey Brian. Brian, go Texans. Not the topic for tonight, but we're glad you're in there, Brian. Thanks, man.
Ace is thing having Mission Pro in Conroe. So, we might have to do a tour sooner or later so we can,
Who knows?
all the fans can be able to come together.
Yeah. We have Mongrovian Mike, and of course, Tony Justice is always in there. Brent's in here with us tonight. Steve, R.A., Pepe, I mentioned Pepe, and Mrs. Front Row is in there as well. And there's some more people joining. So thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. So first I want to ask you, I do want to talk about that tag match, but outside of that, what was one of your either standout moments or maybe your standout performers from last weekend's incredible pay-per-view?
Well,
I said hello to my wife. I did. I called her.
well, let's just go there real quickly. Let's just get it out the way. Misty Marks was victorious in her match against Dream Girl Ellie. And not only was she victorious, I believe this is the first time that she has actually won a match at Mission Pro. So bravo to her. I like the match. She was very dominant in it, as she should be, a local Texan herself. Being dominant on her own territory. So yes, that was the highlight of my night.
Yeah, I mean, look, you and I don't always agree on maybe her methods, but I can't argue with the results.
She did that. Yes, she did.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, there's a lot of things. One of the things that really stuck out to me was the Tiffany Nieves sort of a spotlight video and hearing parts of her story. And I'm looking forward to hear more from her down the road. But, really, I'm really invested in her journey. I'm really invested in any upcoming matches, but she's really become one of the fastest rising stars in Mission Pro. But one of the other teams that really impressed me was Moneybirds. Moneybirds they leveled up in a big way this past weekend, and I'm really excited to see where they're going to go.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I mean, the champs are still the champs, but however, you got to see Moneybirds get out there and show exactly what they showed. They came to fight, and they showed they're here to stay. So, everybody needs to look out for them. They are definitely a force to look out for in the future. Tiffany was definitely her background story was really good. It was emotional. It got me to know her a little bit more. The La Princesa. I love the, just the whole journey for her. So just after seeing that, well, actually after the match and then being able to see her journey, it was great. I appreciated that as a fan.
Yeah, I agree. Quick shout out. We got some more people joining. Hey, Serena, thanks for joining us tonight. I see Neil's in there.
All right.
It looks like Neil may be joining us on June 10th, possibly for True Colors in person in San Antonio. I'm going to give him more pressure by calling him out on the air.
Hey, Joe. Yes.
But of course, the main event was as as advertised.
Mhm.
High On and Genocide are two super physical, just two powerhouses, and I think we got what we were hoping to see. Just a crazy fight, a lot of physicality, and still your Mission Pro Wrestling champion, Genocide.
Yes, I totally agree. High On came to Mission Pro and showed us exactly what she had. She almost looked as big as the champ. She looks a whole lot bigger than, compared to Genocide and what I've seen her at other promotions in. And she brought it. She brought it. I hope to see her in Mission Pro a lot more and just a lot of other promotions. She is so awesome in the ring, and her hits are real stiff and solid. At least it looks that way. I don't know personally, don't want to know, but she brought it in, and I was glad to see her in the main event. Hope we get to see her again soon.
Yeah. Okay. So we've dodged it enough. The men's
There you
revolution.
go.
Okay, first Boss Baines gets involved in a match earlier in the night. He does a great impression of Quicksand. Um and then, we see what we see at the end of that tag match. And of
Mhm.
course, after the melee and after all the chaos, La Mera Mera herself, Thunder Rosa, stepped in and made a statement. Dropped an F-bomb and basically laid down the law. So
Hey,
we're going to see a four-way tag match at True Colors, and we have it's the King Bees, um, Men's Revolution, Bougie Reality, and is it Money Birds? I think
money
could be
works.
Money Birds.
So,
Yeah, Money Birds. Yep.
but
Brian's in the chat. I'll have to keep me honest, but I think those are the four teams. And Thunder was like, enough of this crap. We've got to just get in the ring and hash it all out, fight it all out, and see who emerges victorious.
now the only way I really see this as a punishment, boss. I
Thanks for
really
that super chat, Tony, with the first super chat of the night.
the punishment for the men's revolution is if all the other tag teams, all the women jump on them all together and just beat them down. Like realistically, what kind of punishment is this to give them a tag team title match?
It's true. There could end up being a 3-on-1 team situation.
This might become devastating to the brand. We might have men's revolution as our Mission Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions. No, no, there's no way. There's no way we can have that happen. I don't even want to think about that. I don't
Look,
want
that's not a world that I want to live in, but it's a possibility. So, yeah, and I see a lot of discontent in here for Boss Baines, Bew Baines.
to.
Sam in Cleveland, I think our buddy Sam likes your hair. He says your hair looks good.
Hey Sam, thanks.
I don't see Marks in the chat tonight. Usually he's a big pro Boss Baines guy, but maybe we'll see him at some point. We
He's
can
tired
boo him loudly.
he's tired of me beating him up over the airwaves. So
Maybe
that's
he's
probably what it
licking
is.
his wounds and taking a break or something. I don't know. We'll see.
I'll get
But it was overall, it was a great show. We had a record streaming, over 5,000 live viewers. We had just the social media interaction was off the charts. I know because I was looking at the Twitter account, and it was just, I couldn't keep up with it. It was crazy. So thank you everybody for interacting and being part of the weekend. And if you didn't see Edge of Glory, make sure to check it out on Title Match Network. Go check out the replay as we're preparing for our next pay-per-view, June 10th, True Colors. Tickets are on sale now. Tickets are actually moving very quickly. I don't think the first and second rows are going to last all that long. It's going to be a big show. It's going to be an exciting show. I know a bunch of us are headed there. So
yes, we are. We'll be there in person.
Yep. And if you're interested in sponsorship, so for this upcoming show, there are sponsorship opportunities available. Send us an email at missionprowrestling@gmail.com and we'll get right back to you. And this is the official show poster, which is very colorful, very cool.
It's gorgeous. I love it. I love it. It pops. Got our champ right in the center. It pops. I love it. Love it.
Yep, and our tag champs right up front. Love it. There's I see some new faces too, which is always really exciting. And on a mission, Emily and Veda are going to be doing some great interviews with some of the folks who may be new to Mission Pro, but also bringing some of your favorites back on as we get closer and closer to June. Definitely check it out. And yes, Mrs. Front Row, it is Pride Month in June, so we're excited about that. I am personally excited about that as a proud ally. So I did see just a minute ago on the socials, before we jump into some of the other wrestling news, there's news breaking right now. Trent, do you want to just give us a quick overview on what that news is?
Okay, so New Japan Strong Women's Championship is having a one-night tournament, which is going to include 4 women wrestlers: Stephanie Vicar, Mercedes Monet, our wonderful Willow Nightingale, and Momo Kogo. Momo Kogo. And this is awesome. This is going to determine who is going to be, I believe, the first New Japan Pro Wrestling Women's Champion.
Yeah, Neil will have to keep me honest. It's for the Strong Women's Champion. So this is a new championship.
Yep.
It's a new title.
New Japan Pro Women's Strong Women's Championship. That's exactly.
So that's exciting. So New Japan will have their main title and their strong title, just like the men do, which is really cool.
So this is going to be at a show called Reassurance, Sunday, May the 21st. Oh my God, in Long Beach, California. My life has changed. I gotta go. I'm sorry, I gotta go buy tickets. Excuse me.
I get it. Hey, I gotta give Brian a shout out here. Brian's giving us some math here. They have a 25% chance of winning, but if you take the 75% that the other teams turn on them, and I give them the 10%.
Steiner math is what? Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It's too late at night for that kind of math, Brian. I'll just take your word for it.
All right.
So what happened in the week of women's wrestling? We're going to talk about some of the highlights from the shows from this past week, and then as we get towards the end, we're going to share a couple of our experiences, our favorite experiences, meeting some of our favorite women wrestlers. And I have a couple of good ones. I've met a lot, obviously, over the years, being a part of Mission Pro, a part of the Mission Pro family, and even before that, as a fan of women's wrestling, going back a long time. So there's been some great ones. But let's kick off with SmackDown. And so this is really cool. I think this is really cool. Zelina Vega had demanded that Adam Pearce give her a match against Rhea Ripley at Backlash, which is in Puerto Rico, which is cool. It's hosted by Bad Bunny, which is going to be really, really neat. But now you have Zelina Vega, a Latina woman, in challenging Rhea Ripley, who is a dominant champion in Puerto Rico on a big pay-per-view. I like all of this.
Yeah, I'll definitely. If it hits all the spots, it hits all the check marks for an awesome match. Not just playing to the people at home, but definitely playing to the crowd and to the locals. And then Selena, giving her a shot. Hey, I'm all for that as well. I think she is so talented, and she really doesn't get any ring time anymore at all. I mean, I remember her basically being around consistently through pandemic, you know what I mean, and just really kind of holding it down with being a manager for the teams that she was on, the teams that she had on Raw and SmackDown. So she I think she deserves a shot, and especially in I don't know if that's exactly her hometown, but I think it's going to be a great spot for her.
Yeah, I agree. And I did want to shout out. I know we're typically clubbing most of the news in women's wrestling, but I did see that Bad Bunny, as of this week, is not only hosting, but he is now booked in a match with
Well, he
Damien
said
Priest,
he's
which is really
no
cool.
longer going to host because he
Oh,
is
no
not
longer.
going to
Okay,
be in the match. Yes, yes,
gotcha.
I
Okay.
he's
Over on Raw, we saw Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Gonzalez defeat Damage Control. I don't know. It's part. There's so many talented women on Raw and SmackDown, and I just feel like I think we have to be patient because tomorrow night's the draft, so they're kind
okay.
of in holding pattern, right? Like they've been sort of holding off on launching any major storylines. The main titles are what they are
Yeah.
with Bianca and Rhea, but I think you're going to see fresh new stories post draft.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna take my side back because you know how I feel about damage control. So I'm gonna be optimistic with this situation, and we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
see.
we will see. I mean, hey, since Triple H took over creative, what, 8 months ago, they've been telling us some great stories. So I'm gonna have faith that the same will be true for the women's division post draft. We'll just
Yeah.
it's a maybe at
Yeah.
best, right? So, but of course, for me and for us at Mission Pro, we have so many Mission Pro alumni that have been a part of our stories and a part of our journey that are now have gone on to do some pretty big things. And NXT is a big home for a lot of those people right now. Cora Jade defeated Lyra Valkyria. Valkyria. I always mispronounce that name. Cora Jade is awesome. I like this new version of her. She's got a bit of an edge.
Mhm.
Um, how are you feeling about Cora? And do you think will we see her in the draft? Maybe.
So, I got a couple of ladies that I'm thinking from NXT. Cora is actually one of them. I really think she has a great style of her own, and I think she's really good in the ring. I think she's better than a lot of the other ladies there, and I also feel like uh, JC
Hmm.
Jane, she's also somebody that I wouldn't be surprised that if I saw got called up. I'm also kind of thinking a little bit logically, considering there are some pretty good storylines still going on in NXT, and I don't think they will break certain storylines up, especially like with the championship, and then I like the GG feud and things like that. But and then everybody, of course, is talking about Zoe Stark. So she's probably like number one draft pick, probably for everyone there. But those are pretty much the ones that I was thinking about.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. There's a couple of standouts there. But right now for me, JC Jane and Gigi Dolan have a great feud going on, and this post Toxic Attraction, um, it's been great. I love seeing strong non-title feuds. Not
Yeah.
everything has to be for a title. Sometimes it can just be because and yeah, I just so shout out in the chat to Mongrovi and Mike. Thank you. Yeah. Cora Jade was Elena Black and did wrestle for Mission Pro at one point, which is really cool. There's a bunch of people actually, even Zoe Stark and of course Roxanne Perez and others. Um,
Mhm.
Zoe Stark is another person that I see as just absolutely ready to be up on that main stage, to be on the main roster. She's already had championship matches at house shows or at live events against Charlotte Flair and
Yeah.
tag. You know, they've had fatal four ways where she's competed for the SmackDown title when Charlotte was the champ. So,
Yeah,
and JC Jane did too as well. Yes,
yeah,
thank you,
and then
Brian.
Zoe
Yep,
looks like the perfect package. I mean, she's just like she's ready. You know, like she is completely baked, cooked, package her up and send her up. She just looks like everything that they like. Like there's nothing left for her in NXT. Now I'm sure there's plenty of things she can learn, but compared to the other ladies that are still there in the training, that I just feel like she's just ready to step on up. And I
agreed.
hope we'll find something great for her.
Agreed. We're gonna give a shout out to No Gimmicks in the chat. Thanks for
Hey,
joining us tonight. Awesome. Yeah, Mongrovian, my God. Masha was also, but Masha's not in NXT. We're talking about
what?
NXT right now. Keep up.
Masha? Oh my god, I watched it.
We're talking NXT. Come back when we're talking Impact. but so this week's episode of NXT was main evented by the women's match, the triple threat for the
Mhm.
NXT Women's Championship, and it's not uncommon for the women of NXT to headline shows. They have, you know, one of the best rosters out there, and this was Roxanne Perez challenging and Tiffany Stratton challenging Indy Hartwell for her
Yeah.
title, and it was a crazy fight. I think Indy may have gotten injured. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
not sure how, well, they showed her being injured and then, being
yeah.
helped back to the locker room, and then all of a sudden it became this one-on-one match, which everybody at this point thinking, okay, now we just definitely have to have a new champion. I mean, there's only two people in the ring. So at this
Well,
point, I'm sitting there for the longest, like, okay, I'm wondering who is it gonna be? Who is it gonna be? Are they gonna, put it back on Roxanne, and or are they gonna trust the newbie, and who is it gonna be? Who is it gonna? And then here comes Indy.
yeah. So did you see Dijak's post? He said he was with her in medical and like she was no selling the injury and this whole post about what a badass she was and tough, and I thought it was cool. It was a good co-sign by a coworker. I thought it was pretty
Okay.
cool.
Okay, well, she for that, and being able to run back down to the ring and finish the match off and retain your championship, and bravo to her. Cooties, cooties, cooties. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to give another shout out to Ryan Romano, always supporting Mission Pro. Thanks, Ryan, for joining us tonight. And so the last thing I want to talk about for NXT, and this is one of the things I love about NXT, is they give you these little behind the scenes, like Blair Witch type filmed, you know what I mean? And we saw Sol Ruka get attacked. What was interesting to me is the person holding the camera followed the attacker, but it
Yeah,
wasn't a camera crew. It was clearly someone with a cell phone who was just following,
yeah,
which I love that aspect of it. It wasn't a steady cam. It wasn't overproduced. It was just someone with a cell phone who happened to catch the action or catch the attack, which I thought was really well done. And it wasn't in the parking lot this time, which is unusual.
yeah. Usually we do have the attacks in the parking lot, but it gave a lot of reality to it. Like NXT does a lot of things right. I
Hmm.
mean, I know it's developmental and everything, but they do a lot of things right. And that little clip right there was actually so good because you really felt like you were creeping around with them to try to see what was going to happen. I really enjoyed that part.
Yeah. Yeah, I love all that stuff, and just such a strong women's division, and there's such a strong feeder system for the people that we're going to see main event WrestleMania in the next year or two. So very cool. Yeah, found footage style. That's a good call. It does feel like that sort of thing. So I like that gritty, spur of the moment feel to it. Um, I wanted to jump over to Ring of Honor. Now, I don't get the chance to watch Ring of Honor that much, but what I think is really interesting is, one of our favorites from the independent scene who's been everywhere is Lady Frost, and she was tonight. I believe she was challenging Athena for her title in a proving ground match.
Yeah. So,
Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I'm really looking forward to catching that later on tonight. I watch Ring of Honor faithfully, and it's actually I've given it quite a few shout outs here on the show. They have really some top notch ladies over there, including Willow Nightingale, who is always performing at a high level. Athena, of course, the champion, was awesome, came from WWE. At least, that's where I know her from originally. And yeah, Ring of Honor is doing some great things with their women's division also. So it's kind of hard to think that they have the same management as AEW, if that makes sense.
It does. So I want to get your opinion on something because, we're both old school Ring of Honor fans, and I think one of the things that was a strong characteristic of Ring of Honor was the equity that they build in their titles and in their champions. There's not
Yeah.
a ton of flip flopping of titles. It's usually when
No,
someone's
they have it for quite some period of time. I mean, it means something. It's establishing some, like you said, some equity. It's establishing, making it prestigious, making it. I mean, if this is something, if somebody is holding this belt for 2 years, 3 years, you're sitting there like, who is going to beat them? And that person has to be a very dominant person within themselves to be able to do that. And then there's so many different types of matches in Ring of Honor, which we could go into all of that because I love that. But I'm just saying, Ring of Honor style. I love that they still have the traditional style there. I love what they're doing with their women's division, and I can't wait to even give a small tidbit next week on what Lady Frost has done in the ring.
Yeah, and the reason that I bring that up is Athena's currently, or up before tonight, was 20-0 in her Ring of Honor matches, and she's had 8 successful title defenses. She's a fighting champion. She's a dominant champion. We see her almost every week defending her title. She seems to have a match on almost every card. It's, to me anyway, it's what it seems like from what I see. And then, of course, they also managed to give us something like, a Diamante versus Sky Blue. Both awesome.
Awesome. Yes.
But what I wanted to ask you is, do you think that they're okay? And this isn't a criticism because I'm a big fan of all the talents involved, but there's an aspect of this new Ring of Honor that to me feels almost like AEW light, like it's a version of AEW. I would just like to see more non-AEW talents, whether they're strictly Ring of Honor talents or independent talents, telling different stories outside of what we see on Wednesdays and Fridays.
I never thought about it like that. I guess if you, I don't really think it's AEW light. I think the way I see it, there is a separation between. I know, like Willow sometimes crosses over. We might see her on both shows, but I really feel like they're starting to establish their own, and they're really separate from the women of AEW. There's no Brit, um um there's just a lot of AEW separation. The Outcast, the whole crew, everybody over there is they're not in the Ring of Honor
Yeah.
shows. It may be one or two people. Like I said, honestly, Willow is the only one, and then Athena, because she initially started off on AEW. But I think her presence, as you can see, is completely dominant in Ring of Honor as being the champ. And then I don't really think anybody else kind of goes back and forth. I mean,
Well, the second match on the card tonight was 2 people that are on AEW Dark and Elevation pretty much every week. So.
Well, yeah, I guess, but everybody is on. Well, okay, if you put it like that. I mean, AEW Dark and Elevation, I don't know. I catch it sometimes. I don't really watch it as much. So much wrestling in the world. But at the same time, I guess because I don't see it, when I watch the two shows, I see them differently. So because
Yeah.
that's eliminated from my vocabulary. So maybe that's why.
Well, Mongrovian Mike points out that it's also that crossover is even more it's more prevalent in the male talent, which
Oh,
I agree,
definitely.
but
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that totally. But I feel like the women's talent is they're separate for the most. Oh well, until you put your AEW dark point in that in there. I thought
well,
I
there's good news because I believe they're done with Dark Elevation. I think there was a best of this week, and the rumor is, I don't know if there's any truth to this or not. It's just a rumor and innuendo that that's going away, and they'll be replacing it with another show that's going to be taped for Saturday nights. But who's to say, right? So
just
I don't. It's a maybe at best. But I am hearing very good things about, especially one thing I will say is it seems, and you can keep me honest, I feel like the women's matches, especially the title matches, are getting a lot more time than the AEW matches.
Yes, yes. It doesn't feel like it is. I was at Multiverse. I saw the title match that Athena had live. It was awesome. And just watching Ring of Honor every Thursday, those women get time. They get time to get in there, even if they're new with each other or don't even have any background, but they can build a story. They actually have more than just 3-4 minutes in the ring. That's why I think that's another reason why I feel like a Ring of Honor is so much different with their women, because the women really have 11, 12 minutes sometimes to just really get in there and fill each other out and show us really their skill sets. I, I love Ring of Honor right now. They're doing
Yeah,
some good things.
that's very cool. So yeah, folks should check that out. And before we get to our topic of the evening, if you could maybe just fill us in on a couple of what are the sort of the big stories coming out of Impact.
So
I don't know if you get a chance to
yeah,
catch Impact this
I
weekend.
know, because like Impact is tonight, so I mean, I
Well,
could
from last week.
last week. You know,
So we
uh,
have a new champion, and are they? I know they're. I'm not sure what the plans are for the new champion for Deonna Purrazzo. Have they sort of given an indication?
uh, well, no,
Okay,
no. I mean, we knew we had a new champ. As far as we gave her some props last week and everything,
we
but
did. Oh, so
yeah,
here's a good question: is Mickey James done? I don't think Mickey's done. I
I
genuinely don't.
now that's a good topic. Now that in itself is a great topic, because I know they realistically, she doesn't have to be, because she didn't lose anything. That was the whole thing. If she lost the match, she was going to retire, and that was going to be the end. She didn't lose anything. She had to relinquish. And if we want to call that a loophole or whatever, that's fine. But Mickey James I feel like she's coming back. She's going to be strong, and whoever the champ is at that time, be it Deanna or whomever, they better look out. So that's my personal prediction.
Yeah, and I mean Mickey said as much on Busted Open. She said, "I'm not done. Once I'm healed up, I'm coming back for that title." So I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
So I want everybody in the chat to sort of chime in here and give us, your experiences as well. As wrestling fans, we get the opportunity to meet a lot of independent talents, and bigger stars at meet and greet experiences, whether they're fan fests or shows or even just a cricket wireless. um, there's all kinds of opportunities to meet people, and some people impress you but more than others, or maybe they connect with their fans more than others. I just wanted to share a couple of quick stories. For me, there were a number of people that I met that really impressed me. The first was Charlotte Flair. I met her in 2017 at a Cricket Wireless here in Charlotte. I found out she was doing a quick appearance. It really wasn't advertised. It was the day of SmackDown, which we had tickets for. So it was 5 minutes from the house. So like I ran over there because I wanted to meet her, and I was at the end of the line because I got there late. And they said, "Well, you'll be the last one." I said, "Okay, fine." So I get up there. It was like maybe 15 minutes. I waited because it was at the end of the meet and greet, and she was ridiculously nice. She was so, because she's from here, and we talked about the area and we talked about restaurants, and it
Aw.
was only like a few minutes long, but she was so, but she connected with all the kids, which is one of the things I pay close attention to these days. She did sign my title, which was kind of her too. And that night she went on to win the SmackDown title
All
here in
right,
Charlotte,
so
which
you
is
had
pretty
the
cool.
champ sign your title.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So, and the other thing, obviously, as a fan and a friend of Thunder Rosa, like I've seen her and a lot of people like her connect with children, and as supporters of women's wrestling, as a women's wrestling promotion, to see little girls connect with these powerful, impressive women, and the way that they are inspired by them, to me that's way cooler than me meeting them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so I've watching people like Thunder, watching people like Mickey James, and some Rhea Ripley, and all these dominant athletes inspire the next generation of little girls now, women later. I think it's super cool. So those are two of my standouts.
okay. So again, I've met just like you, I've met quite a few uh talent over the years, over and just a lot over the last 3 or 4 years. So um awesome all the time, Thunder. I mean, I remember the first time I met her, it was like, I mean, the you could just feel the love and emotion and the carry. She just squeezed you so hard, and it's just like, oh, you like, I'm a stranger. But she loves her fans, and she shows that in every way. If I really wanted to just do one that was so nerve-wracking and intimidating, and probably one of the best feelings I've ever had in the world, was the time I got to interview Awesome Khan in St. Louis. I mean, it was her retirement match. She only allowed 2 people to interview her. I was lucky enough, blessed enough, grateful enough to be the second person. And I thank Neil for being there and having my back, because I forgot every question I was supposed to ask. I forgot everything I was supposed to say. And this woman snapped me out of it and was like, hey, and had a conversation, which is one of the best things in the world for me. So, yeah, I mean, I've met a lot of people. Camille, very intimidating in real life, but leaves a great impression on you. I've had one of the best conversations in the world twice with Deanna Perrazzo. So she's like one of my favorite people to run into and just talk to and have a great conversation with. Yeah, those are probably it for me. Those are the most memorable.
Okay, I have to call out our friend Neil. He cites Thunder, Janai Kai, Mickey James, Miyu Yamashita, Killer Kelly, Deanna Prazo, and Minoru Suzuki, our favorite female wrestler. I what
Wow,
Neil? I don't.
I didn't know.
I had
Hey,
no idea either.
these
Breaking
days,
news.
you never know.
Thanks, Neil.
Awesome, awesome.
But yeah, so bringing it back to Mission Pro, for the fans who are in attendance, there are so many great. I remember seeing, I think it was Drill Sergeant Z's daughter would dress up like Genocide, face paint and everything. So
Yeah,
cool, like every show. And then to see all the kids and grown-ups too. We're super
right.
excited to meet Bougie Reality, and Maddie and Rashay are so good with the fans. They're so much fun. They take really energetic pictures and they spend time with
Yeah.
everybody. So if you have the opportunity to be at a Mission Pro show, definitely bring your merch money, because there's a lot of fun people to meet and just some great photo opportunities.
Yeah, past and present. I've met a lot of wonderful women at Mission Pro. La Rosa Negra was one of my favorites. She's so energetic, and you get to take these strong, powerful. This woman is jacked and has, you know, I've met a lot of the women at Mission Pro and Bougie Reality. They are awesome. I mean, just everybody there. It's great. It's great.
Jasmine too. Jasmine's great with the fans, with especially with the little kids. Man, she's super nice. She has issues in the ring. She's definitely has an edge and an attitude.
I just.
But she's good. She's good with the kids, so we're good there.
Good to know.
Oh yeah, and I wanna definitely agree with Pepe. Maddie's side character interviews are hysterical.
Yes, yes. Maddie
They're
is
so
doing
good.
some great things right now. She is so hilarious. You have to check her out on Twitter. That's on Twitter, and she has Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
She has stuff on Twitch and YouTube as well.
I was gonna say Twitter.
It's everywhere.
Well, probably across all her socials. Just check
Pretty
her out.
much.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so there's a million more we could talk about. I saw a lot of great suggestions in the chat, and you're welcome, Neil. You did it to yourself. Sorry, man.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining, everybody in the chat. We appreciate you being on here with us on a Thursday night. Make sure you catch Tuesday nights on a mission with Emily and Veda. They promise to have more guests and more fun as we're leading into True Colors on June 10th in San Antonio. Make sure you, if you're in the area, make sure you get your tickets now if you want the best seats available. And if you are not in the area, not able to attend, make sure to check it out on Title Match Network. We will be back next Thursday. Trenda, Magellan, and I will be back next Thursday for another fun episode of Unmatched. And Trenda, where can folks find you on the socials?
Well, now I am officially across all socials at Trenda Magellan with a J, not a G.
Yeah. Nice. And I am PW Front Row. You can find me obviously here every Thursday and on Saturday nights on the Nation's Corner, at Nation's Corner, and at the Nation's Corner, at Nation's Corner on Twitter, and the Nation's Corner everywhere else, with Tony Justice, Deb Housen, and Mugrovi and Mike. Special guests pretty much every week. We've got a lot of new content coming up. Probably going to see some Mission Pro talent over there too, so stay tuned.
Hey,
and
Nation's Corner is always on location.
My goodness. We have a whole team of people scouring the country for the best talent. So, yeah, it's always a good time. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We're going to see you all next week. And